Hey, we are back. We are the Wrestling Boys. I'm Logan.
I'm Goose.
And we're here to give our predictions for Elimination Chamber 2023.
Yep.
Talk about some recent scary wrestling news.
And apparently AEW has signed a new contract with ESPN. We'll talk about that during this show. But I guess we got some scary news concerning the King.
Yeah, a few days ago, I think it was Jerry Lawler's Twitter account had come out and said that he had recently suffered another stroke and he was in the hospital. But luckily it said, even though like his speech was impacted, it says it's expected he'll make a full recovery. But it's scary hearing about that, given he's already had a heart attack and all that. So
yeah, I mean that's kind of scary, because he just, like you mentioned, he just had that heart attack just a few years back, and he had that actually on live television to where it shook up Michael Cole so much he couldn't even go on with the program. It was like he just sat there, and I guess it was just kept checking as I'm looking stuff up here. The program, and so and how old is the King?
Jerry Lawler, he's in his 70s, I believe. I'm going to just check real quick. Jerry Lawler is 73 years old.
73. So he's unfortunately, kind of at that age, where we see a lot of
the health scares that are more common.
Yeah, and
would like.
He did, from what I remember, he came back for Raw 30 and did some commentary there, which was
that was nice hearing him.
It was nice because King was a big part of that Raw era with Jim Ross, and of course Jim Ross is over at AEW. So just to hear him do commentary was really cool. It brought back a lot of really good memories. But
because he was one of the commentators that I grew up with. The commentary team of him and Michael Cole was one I remember most.
Yeah, he made the very famous phrase, "Puppies."
Yep.
Puppies. Because you couldn't say titties on live television.
or just like another one of my favorites that he did was "That's it, he's dead." He's dead. Of course, during the iconic Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Mankind.
Yeah. I mean, he was ringside for that, that giant fall from Mick Foley. It was like...
No, but I'm pretty sure that happened after when he was thrown through the top, so not just after he was thrown off the top of the cell.
Okay, yeah. Right through the key. That's it. He's dead. But it's interesting because the King has had such an illustrious career. It was funny because we were like, before we came on, there was like, you were looking up, stuff to like you wanted to get an update on the how he was doing in the hospital, and he goes, he's like, all it's giving me is his career. And
it was an article from People, so it was by a magazine that's probably not. I guess mostly read by wrestling fans, so a lot of people who would read that article aren't already familiar with Jerry Lawler, but it's like I'm reading the story trying to get updates, and it's like, Jerry Lawler was a wrestler back in the Memphis Territories in the 1970s. It's like, I know that.
I'm sorry to be laughing, but it's true. It's like they do this nowadays. It's like they give you the headline. You're like, oh, what happened here? And normally when I think in high school and college, they tell you if you give the headline, you want to give the headline, and then you give the headline again in like the first paragraph, and then you talk about it. And nowadays, it's like they give the headline, and then they give four pages or backstory, and you're like,
it's like the joke about the recipe articles where it's like we want to learn how to make chicken Alfredo, and we don't want to learn about your entire life backstory from the time you grew up to the time when you first tasted chicken Alfredo. Nobody cares about that. Come on, just tell me how to make it.
Just tell you, that's absolutely hysterically funny. But yeah, the King has had a long and illustrious career. I mean, has some of the most iconic wrestling moments in history, starting all the way back when he wrestled A.D. Kaufman.
Oh yeah.
And supposedly put A.D. Kaufman in a neck brace, and it was like and the slap her around the world when he was
on David
Letterman, and it was like, it was just one of those iconic things. But I would have to give credit to the King. One of the things that he's done really well is that when he had that heart attack, it was like, I'm done. I don't think we've seen him in another match since that. Since then,
I think he has wrestled, but it's very
limited,
sporadic. Let me look.
I mean, because I don't remember him being back in the ring after he had that heart attack. I think it was like, that was
at least not in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just one of those things where it's like it's a scary thing. It's like but I mean, now that he's not like Terry Funk, you know what I'm saying? It's like
where he retires
every few weeks. Yeah, it's like Terry Funk comes on and says, I'm retiring, and we're like, okay, and then they have this big retirement match for Terry, and then
he has wrestled quite a bit.
3 months later, Terry has another match.
But it's all in independent promotions. Okay. And again, it's not like a full-time schedule, of course. It's usually just like maybe a match every few months,
But I mean, give him credit. He's not someone that is like so. Because apparently wrestlers when they've been doing this for so long, it's like it has to come to a point where it's like they're forced to stop. Something forces them to stop.
Like with Ric Flair,
Oh gosh.
Where he had his last match, which was
disastrous.
Not to be rude, but it was rather pitiful.
Yeah, it was disastrous.
A pitiful sight to behold. And apparently, I think it was so bad. I think Ric Flair had come out saying he wanted
he wanted a rematch
because it had not put him in a very flattering light.
No, I mean,
but it's like, dude, you've already had way too many health scares to be risking it like that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, when you're in your 70s, thankfully I'm nowhere near there yet. But when you're in your 70s, you don't have the same mobility or the same strength. I mean, one of the things we talked about last week when we were talking about Booker T, was in the Royal Rumble. I mean, he looked really rusty. He did not look like those kicks did not look as smooth as they had been when he was like 15, 20 years ago. I mean,
granted, he hasn't been a full-time wrestler for however long, but so of course you can expect some rust, but as you're going back, you're not the same mobility, the same energy that you had during your prime.
And I mean, I think even Ricky Steamboat, who was the dude that he wrestled for his last match, is like, Rick, we don't want to do this again. I mean, I know it was a bad match, but we don't want to. Let's talk about when Kurt Angle had his last match with Baron Corbin, and it was horrible. It was like it was. I mean. Let me just give props. I love Baron Corbin. I was when I first saw him, I was kind of like I was not sure about this guy, but as I've seen him over the years, I've become a huge fan of Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin carried Kurt Angle in that last match. Carried him because Kurt Angle was in nowhere near shape that he used to be in in his prime. I mean, no one's 10 years after their prime. It's nowhere near. But I mean, it was just. I mean, I remember watching that match, going, "Oh, just give it up, just give it up, call it a day." I mean, and I think they really wanted to give Kurt a big send off, and it looked horrible. And
I think they actually did have Kurt wrestle more matches after that because, as he said, the Baron Corbin match was not received well, but
it was horrible.
I don't remember what is his last match because I don't believe it was.
He's going to look this up because
pardon me.
He's got like a red line to like a lot of the wrestling news and stuff. What?
CageMatch.net.
CageMatch.net was where he usually goes to get all the information.
Find every wrestler's match in every promotion ever, pretty much.
Really? Cool deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we just saw Kurt. Again, Kurt was also at Raw 30, and Kurt looked good. He looked good for someone who has not been taking all these bumps for several months, and so I think. I mean, I remember
Apparently, that was Kurt Angle's last match was against Baron Corbin. The one I was thinking of was I thought he had a match with Drew McIntyre once on Raw, and I thought that happened after the Baron Corbin match.
No, it happened before. and again, Kurt, we love Kurt. You know, it's like,
Mhm.
but you get. I mean, Curtis had. I mean, Curtis had so many injuries and surgeries. I mean, I don't think I have enough fingers on a hand.
Yeah.
To count that high, you know, to go that high. And he's battled his addictions and everything else. But it's just, you get to a certain point in your life where it's like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't, you know, it doesn't, it's even like, we joked, not going totally off the rails, but we joked when Tom Brady said he was retiring, and we were like, yeah, for how long?
Yeah. See you back on the field in a few months.
Yeah, because, you know, because it's hard to get.
He's going to be the Terry Funk of football.
He is. I mean, that's what I worry about. Some people are like, I mean,
He's going to retire, and then he's going to see, oh, there's a payday there. I'm going to play again.
I mean, you know, it's true. But I mean, you know, Steve Young even came out and said, you know, if he stayed healthy, he could play till he's 50. And I'm like, no, because it only takes one good hit, and Steve Young would know about that because he took one good hit, and his career was done. And so it would only take one good hit to knock Tom Brady off his senses. It would, you know, and in wrestling, it takes one bad bump to have your career just go totally off the rails again.
Just look at draws, you know. One bad move, and paralyzed for life.
For life. Let's look at, you know, Jason Jordan. We go back to Jason Jordan. One bad move and
retired. And what was he? Only in his like mid-20s.
In mid-20s, he was, you know, everybody's talking about, oh, well, this guy's gonna have a great career. It was cut short because, and these guys practice these moves for hours. You know, we talked about. I remember when we talked about the SmackDown women's match between Shotzi and Ronda, and how, you know, that one move off the
where they went
ropes,
for that DDT onto the apron,
and Ronda was like, she wasn't very happy because apparently they were only given like 3 hours to rehearse it. And Ronda was not happy about how the move pulled off. They did the best they could, but they just couldn't get it right. And they were afraid that, as I said, they were afraid that if they waited until they got in the right position, they would have been sitting there for 20 seconds, which is an eternity in wrestling. It's like, you know, it's an eternity in wrestling where you're trying to. You watch these guys when they're trying to get the.
like when they're going for the high rope. Or
the superplex. I mean,
or like they're going for these high risk maneuvers off the top rope onto the group of people, but it's like I know you're supposed to have some suspension of disbelief for any form of entertainment, but when you see a group of people standing there for 10 seconds waiting for a guy to get up on the top rope and jump off, it completely takes you out of the moment. And that goes back to setting up that
superplex. You know,
thing between Shotzi and Ronda. You know,
it's just it felt like it took forever. And Ronda was not happy with it. Shotzi was like, well, you know, it is what it is. They didn't have a whole lot of time to rehearse that. If that was the case, they actually did a pretty good job because I mean, I actually liked the match. I'm one of the few people that
it was all right. It wasn't
spectacular.
as good as I expected,
you know,
but
it wasn't a spectacular match, but it was a good match.
It was what it was.
It was solid. You know, that's what when you're doing a pay-per-view, you want every match to be a solid match. But I mean, it's just. Going back to the King, I mean, I'm hoping that, you know, he takes this opportunity to just, you know, kick back and relax, and you don't have to wrestle anymore. I mean, I mean, you've made some pretty good money. Hopefully, you've invested it well, and to just, you know, write a memoir. I mean, I would love to read a book, you know, from Jerry the King Lawler and all the crazy shit that he did. Even, you know, especially I would love to hear how you set up and did that whole stuff with
whole Andy
Kaufman thing
storyline.
Yeah, you know, it just but you know, don't. I mean, you're in your 70s.
Don't want to push it.
We don't want to hear that, you know, that you suffered another heart attack or a stroke while you were
in the ring
wrestling at some podunk gym in Fairfield, California, or something. You know what I'm saying? We want to be able to have our
legends with us for as long as possible,
right? And, you know, or at least remember them in a way that's
Not tragic. I guess.
that's a good way to put it. All right, we're going to take a break here. When we come back on the other side of this, apparently AEW has signed a deal with ESPN
To broadcast AEW.
Yep. So we're going to talk about that on the other side of this break.
I am Goose. I am Logan. We are travel by nature.
That being said, I'm Goose.
I am Logan.
This is Travel by Nature. Thank you for watching.
Tired, I am sore, and I just want to go to bed.
And you can do that after you take a shower.
I can take a shower in the morning.
No, you can take one now.
I don't even smell that bad.
Oh, really? You smell like a combination of body odor and butt crack, and I'm not sleeping next to that. Laid too every once in a while.
As tempting as all that sounds, I'd rather go to bed. Honey, what's wrong? Half the crew is at the bar. At least I'm here.
That's just it. Even when you're here, you're not. You're either too tired or too preoccupied.
Hey, we are back. We are the Wrestling Boys. I am Logan.
I'm Goose.
And we are here to...
Well, apparently, as I was going through the news today, I found that ESPN and All Elite Wrestling have inked a deal to show
AEW
pay-per-views and Rampage.
He said it was only in like foreign territories.
But it was only in foreign territories. It's in Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. Yay.
Interesting.
So
why is it only in those territories and not like the United States?
I think this is first of all, I think this
Do you think this is leading up to them getting the rights to broadcast
I think this
in
is leading
bigger
up to the rights to getting to more territories. I think this is a trial balloon. They want to see before they release it out to the United States, which again, I mean, one of the things I have been like pleading with AEW is that they get on a network that's going to give them bigger notoriety. And I'm not saying...
I mean, they're already on a big network. They're already on TNT. And
yeah, But what I'm saying is that you want to be able to, how do I say this? You want to get on a streaming service that we can find you.
Yeah.
You know,
Because, I mean, like, WWE's on Hulu, and that's where we always watch it.
Yeah.
But it's like, we're always trying to find AEW Dynamite, February 5th, clips, Daily Motion, you know.
Yeah, and so the only place we've been able to find AEW is like you do have it on YouTube, but you got to pay for it. And I'm like, and I don't know, but I've always thought YouTube was free, so why would I pay to watch wrestling? This has been the thing. I mean, ESPN does have a streaming service. They are with who? Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, yep.
So you would be able
Maybe this will be. Hey, you can watch AEW Dynamite on Disney Plus.
I don't know about that.
That would be cool.
Well, here's the funny thing, and this is one of the things we haven't talked about. So, let's talk about this briefly. That when we were looking at, apparently, I guess WWE was going to be sold to the Saudis, and then it wasn't going to be sold to the Saudis.
Thank God.
And we all took a deep breath. Oh, thank you, God. And so, nothing has been. So, one of the reasons they think that they believe that Vince has come back, back to the board is to negotiate a deal to sell WWE. And so it was like, and you were like half joking. You were joking like, what were you saying, that Disney?
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought was funny when I heard that Disney had gotten this deal with AEW, because if you've been watching us for a while back when we were discussing the WWE sale,
Yeah.
I was joking, what if Disney bought them? Now Disney is striking up a deal with one of the other biggest wrestling companies. So.
What's interesting is that Disney is actually is one of the rumored buyers for WWE, and it's like, and it goes down a list of who's who. It's like, Disney is one of the ones that are considered.
I think the other ones were Comcast.
Then you had Tony Khan and his brother, who already own AEW, which I thought would be absolutely hysterically funny, because it would be like, okay,
You're going to have two companies owned by the same person, still going to be, it's like, are they still going to be rivals?
separate, separate entities or whatever. I thought that was funny. Someone had then brought up, and I don't know if it was a joke, but that, that Shane and Stephanie were in the works trying to find a buyer to help them get a buyer to help get WWE, an investor, and they're like, well, and people were joking, Elon, you want to get a wrestling company?
I did hear about that.
I'm like,
That would be absolutely absurd. Same guy owns Twitter and WWE.
But it's absolutely crazy, because I don't know who's going to buy WWE. Apparently things have kind of cooled down, because there hasn't been any rumors as of lately.
A few weeks ago it was like that was the hottest
That
topic.
was the hottest topic.
Who's going to buy WWE? And now that
It's
kind of mellowed out.
kind of mellowed out,
for the moment.
which is fine. I think what it is it got so much traction that all of a sudden buyers are like,
I think it was the controversy surrounding the possibility of the Saudis buying WWE. Maybe we should chill back on the selling, so we don't get rumors like this out in the ether.
In the ether, yeah, because we don't know where they're going to go. And again, they're just, it was in the same day. It was like the Saudis bought WWE, and then 12 hours later, it was like, that deal has not been finalized. It's not inked. We don't know who's floating. And we were like,
What's the truth?
what the hell's going on back there? And then of course it came out of the woodworks of like, yeah, Disney's interested, which we joked. We were like, you go to Disneyland, you watch the parade, and like, here comes down the parade. And then you
It's John Cena. You just imagine Disneyland. You can get a picture with John Cena and Mickey Mouse.
But
next thing you know, the newest ride is going to be the last ride.
It'll be there'll be a new section of the park, the WWE section of the park, where you get to jump around the ring and pretend you're a wrestler, and then you go like, take the last ride. It's just, but it was almost comically absurd, but at the same time we were like, wouldn't
put it past them.
Wouldn't put it past them. And then of course Comcast came out. I heard Paramount, I think it was also in the mix.
It was pretty much all the big entertainment companies were being discussed by them.
Then I heard, then when I heard Tony and Shad Khan were in the mix, I was like, oh, that ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
And then of course, again, the rumor was that Shane and Stephanie were teaming up to try to buy the company. That I believe more than anything else. I think they might be looking for an investor to help them, which was again the joke, Elon, you looking to buy a wrestling company? Interesting. I mean, crazily enough, and let's give WWE props. Since Vince has been back, we've luckily been able to know that Triple H is still the one doing the booking.
Still in charge of creative.
He's still in charge of creative. He's still the one doing the booking. I mean, he's even the one that came out and kind of like gave up the ghost when DX was out there for Raw 30. He goes, "Hey, this booking thing's hard."
Yeah.
So long as Triple H is the one in charge of booking,
I'm all right.
Everything's fine.
I'm that very, very thinly all right.
I mean,
Vince McMahon still being a big part of the company.
And we'll discuss that on the other side of this break because we're going to talk about Elimination Chamber and the interesting wrestlers that are in Elimination Chamber this year. Because I would not have thought some of these guys would be or ladies would be in the Elimination Chamber, but here they are. We're gonna get it. And it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. But going back to the AEW deal, I think this is a trial balloon. I think they want to see how this works. They know that they've got a fan base in Australia and New Zealand and the Pacific Islands because of all the time that many of those wrestlers spent in New Japan being broadcast out to that area. I think. As far as I know, ESPN I think is doing very well for the Disney company. So I think them taking a chance on this would be good. Like we said, WWE, you can find WWE on both Hulu and Peacock. You can get the replays almost the very next day.
Yeah, I think
Hulu.
That's only on Hulu. For some reason, the latest Raw you can find on Peacock is at least like 3 months old.
Yeah, which I find really weird.
Bizarre.
But I think they've been able to keep it separate by having just Raw and SmackDown and NXT on Hulu, and then keeping all of
the pay-per-views and everything else.
The pay-per-views and the vintage videos and all the other stuff that they've had on Peacock, which is good. So, like I said, I think this is a trial balloon. I think they really want to see how this works out. They're only doing Rampage and they're only doing the pay-per-views.
So they're
for
not
ESPN.
They're not going to be doing Dynamite.
Dynamite, no. Okay. Apparently, that's from what I read. They're not doing Dynamite.
Interesting.
And I think that might be because of the contract they have with TNT.
Oh,
or TBS. I can't remember which. One of the two.
One of the two.
Yeah, I think it has to do with the contract that they have. And again, getting AEW on one of the major streaming services will help them. Will help them, and I think this is the journey they have to go through to get there. I'm just kind of surprised it was ESPN.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, again, you got to kind of think, how is ESPN going to work their programming to get
their AEW?
Their AEW, or are they going to strictly do it as a streaming for a streaming platform? In other words, they're not going to show the events live, but they'll show them on the streaming platform. I don't know.
Kind of like Hulu already does, where they don't do it live, but they still have it. But regardless, I think this would be good for AEW because more people will be able to watch it, because with the increasing cost of cable television, it is not feasible to pay for it.
Yeah.
And if that's the only place you can watch AEW at the moment, that's not good.
Yeah, I tried to watch AEW using the TBS app, and of course TBS was like, "Well,
you have to have a cable
provider," and I'm like,
I think that's the same thing with all the The TV channel apps, like Disney was the same way with like their Disney Now, and I think it's probably the same thing with NBC and all the other channels. You have to have a cable provider to watch their shows.
And I'm thinking, if I have a cable provider, why would I need the app?
Exactly.
So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm really, really hopeful to see how this goes. But on our next segment, we're going to talk about
Elimination Chamber.
and it's coming together just nice.
Yes.
So we're going to go over the cards real quick, give our preliminary predictions, because Lord knows shit's going to change.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a few weeks away, isn't it? I think it's about 2 weeks away, I think.
Yeah, about 2 weeks away. All right, we'll be back after this.
Hey, how's it going, man? Hey, sorry I missed the funeral. I couldn't miss work.
That's alright, I need your help with something.
So what's with the trunk?
Ooh!
I can't believe she gave you the house. I did everything for her. Cooked, cleaned.
And robbed her blind.
I only took what I deserved. She owed it to me.
So why did you call me? I need your help to get rid of it. What makes you think I can help?
Your grandma was a wonderful person. She used to always tell me, Ellen, all you have is your name, so make it a good one.
What is that?
What does it look like?
I don't know. I've never seen it before.
Well, maybe we could burn it. No, and then the fire department will be here in minutes.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. That woman wasn't that pure.
Remember what she told us, Gary. All you have is your name.
Rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every card by heart. Overture, curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it.
Hey, we are back. We are the Wrestling Boys. I am Logan.
I'm Goose.
We're here to give our early predictions for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, and it looks like it's coming together pretty good. Been watching some of the qualifying matches. And
Like they had Dolph Ziggler and Bronson Reed, and then
I didn't even know Bronson Reed had re-signed with the company.
I didn't know either, but it's
He's back.
nice to see him.
I mean, the dude's back. He's massive. He looks like he's going to be really good. So, but and then I got to see Baron Corbin versus Johnny Gargano. That was the craziest match I've ever seen. Dexter Lumis put an axe through JBL's hat. I was like, what?
I must have missed that part of the match because I didn't see that.
No, it was like toward the end of the match. It was like, but it was crazy. It's like JBL put his hat on the table, ripped off part of the announcer's table, and all of a sudden Dexter Lumis, who came out with Johnny Gargano, comes kind of like approaches him and stops, and then all of a sudden pulls his like hatchet out of his. And we're like, what the hell? He's got an axe. What the hell? What was it? And the next thing you know, you just right through the hat. And I'm like, whoa, dude.
Got to see if I can find that on YouTube.
I was like, that shit's crazy. I mean, but you would never see this with Vince and George.
No.
It was like, he'd be in the back having a corner. Give him an axe.
Yeah.
Someone crazy. What if he hurt somebody? Well, they play these things. But it looks like the Elimination Chamber is coming along pretty good. This year, the Elimination Chamber is for the U.S. title.
And it's in the past, it's mostly been for the WWE Championship, although they did have one disastrous Intercontinental Elimination Chamber match that was an absolute dumpster fire.
Yep.
And now they're going to have a U.S. one, but this one looks like it's shaping out to not be a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But rather, it looks like it's going to be
really
pretty
good. Yeah. Who are the people in this match?
Pull it up real quick. I got the card from CBS Sports for the Elimination Chamber match. Gotta scroll through all the other matches first. U.S. Championship Elimination Chamber match. Austin Theory defending against Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford.
Ooh.
That
That
is a stack.
looks really good.
Card.
That is a stacked card. I mean, let's just talk about the most obvious thing in the Elimination Chamber right now, and that is Montez Ford, who is one half of the Street
Profits.
Street Profits.
I mean, it's not surprising to see Montez Ford be given a little of a singles run.
Singles push, yeah.
Because, no disrespect to Angelo Dawkins, he's fantastic as well.
He
but
is.
Montez Ford is the standout star.
He's a highlight reel.
He's the Shawn Michaels of the Street Profits, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. But it begs the question, because I was kind of surprised when I wasn't sure if both were going to make it. I was actually kind of surprised.
Did Angelo Dawkins have a qualifying match?
Yeah, against Damian Priest.
Okay.
So it was kind of like,
This might be how they're going to set up a singles run, I guess, for Montez Ford, by having both of them have a chance to be in the match, but then only Montez Ford qualifies, and he gets a great showing in the match, and then you see Montez Ford climb to the top.
I don't know. I mean, again, one of the things about WWE that I have always argued against is splitting up tag teams, especially successful tag teams. And Street Profits are fun to watch. The and they're successful, and you always worry that they're going to go down a storyline where they're going to split these guys up.
Well, I don't necessarily see them splitting them up. Like, now it's the Street Profits split up, and now they're only single stars. It's probably just going to be Montez Ford is going to get a singles push while also being part of the Street Profits.
So you think it's going to be a lot like what they've done with the New Day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where, like, Big E and Kofi Kingston are still partnering with Xavier Woods, who should be getting a singles push. He's much better than just being relegated to tag teams.
Yeah.
Hint, hint.
Well, right now the New Day they hold the NXT titles, and we're like, okay, that's new. That's certainly different. But I mean, I remember when Xavier won the King of the Ring. We were all like, ecstatic. We were like, oh my gosh, he's finally gonna get that singles push we've been dreaming of. And of course, it just kind of like
went nowhere.
Yeah, it kind of died. I would still like to see Xavier Woods get a singles push. I think he deserves at least one of the two mid-card titles.
Intercontinental or U.S.
Yeah, I mean, but this card looks stacked. I don't even know if I can even give a prediction at this point.
Let's see all the entrants again.
Again, it's Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. And so you're like, and we're going to see a highlight reel of Montez Ford doing his famous splash, either off the top of the pod or off the top of the
that's
chamber.
We have got to see is one of his frog splashes off the top of the pod.
So let's ask this question right away: does Austin Theory retain? Do you think he retains?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
There's too many other big contenders to see Austin Theory retaining.
Yeah, and
because I mean, all the other guys I could see winning the match.
Yeah,
it's not this. It's odd because mostly in elimination chambers, there's at least one contender where you're like, this guy's got no chance of winning, but All these guys are
I mean,
viable winners.
I mean, my initial gut says Johnny Gargano.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason, and again, for me, it's a logical reason. Seth's already held the title.
Mm-hmm.
Bronson,
And I think he's bigger than, no disrespect to the U.S. title, but I think Seth Rollins is more than
the
Nick
U-
Carter, you know?
I mean, the U.S. title has really risen up the ranks within the last few years. John Cena held it. Seth Rollins held it. Bobby Lashley held it. I mean, it's not become it's become this mid card belt that is not necessarily a mid card belt, mostly because you can't pry those belts off of Roman Reigns. I mean, in
Which is like, that's because another match they have set for Elimination Chamber is Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn, but they already got stuff set up for WrestleMania with Cody Rhodes. So even though I would like to see Sami Zayn win,
I got a theory about that. In just a minute.
We'll get to that after we discuss the other matches.
Because we're going to save that one for last.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I mean, Seth has already held the belt. Bronson is still. I mean, he just re-signed with the company. I can't see them putting a belt on him right
this
now.
quick.
Right now, Damian Priest, I think, has already held the belt, and I think they're trying to. I think they may want to set up maybe a feud between him and Gargano. I mean, I could see, but again, with Priest being a part of the Judgment Day, there's so many layers right now with the Judgment Day, as far as with Edge and Dominic and Rhea and also there's so many layers going on there. I think the Priest. I think he regains that belt, but I don't think it's now. And again, Montez Ford is still part of the Street Profits.
And that's the only reason I couldn't see Montez Ford winning
it. I think they I think they put him in a good light. I think they maybe set him up for.
They're going to set him up for a singles run with his showing in this match, but I don't see him winning. So at the moment, I would agree. I think Johnny Gargano is going to be the winner of the U.S. Championship.
And not only that, I mean, but Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory have history, and it would be really interesting if Gargano was the one that won the belt.
So you're going to have them
Theory.
Be the final two in the match,
possibly final two, final three. I mean, but again, we're talking about how Triple H. These are all Triple H guys, and so. I'm kind of happy to see these guys in one of the biggest matches in
the entire year
of the year, and it's really proving that Triple H wants to really showcase the talents of these 6 individuals.
And that's what was nice, because usually in Elimination Chamber it's all main eventers. And this one you've got also, as we said, you got the main eventer Seth Rollins, but you also got your solid mid-carders like Johnny Gargano, Damian Priest, Montez Ford. So it's nice giving these guys who normally wouldn't have a chance in this match,
and giving and not only that, but giving Bronson Reed a showcase to show off his talents.
I mean, just seeing that qualifying match, he looked like a beast.
He looked like he would all of a sudden like he'd gone back to the Performance Center, retooled himself, and came back and was like, "I'm ready to go." I mean, it was absolutely fantastic to see him. So this will be an interesting. It'll be an interesting match. And again, I think. Let's just. I'm going to say this right now. I'm happy that Seth Rollins is in the match. Seth Rollins could wrestle a broomstick and make it a 5-star match.
Yeah. Everything that guy does is.
It's excellent. I mean, this guy has only gotten better and better as his career's gone on. He's reminds me of this other guy. Remember, John Cena. He got better and better as time goes on. So, not only that, I wouldn't be surprised if Seth Rollins had another championship run toward the end of this year. But he just looks absolutely fantastic. And so, my initial pick right now is Johnny Gargano. Again, we'll see how it works out. Yeah.
So on to the next match they have on there. Let me pull it up real quick. They have the women's elimination chamber match. You have Raquel Rodriguez, not Gonzalez anymore, versus Nikki Cross, Liv Morgan, Asuka, Natalya, and Carmella.
Okay.
This is not for a championship like the other one.
I
don't know if this is to, like,
can I say I'm a
get
little
the contender for one of the women's championships at WrestleMania.
I'm a little confused because they had a fatal 4-way, and I missed that match. So I'm gonna act stupid here.
Here it is. Here's the explanation. Since Rhea Ripley already revealed she would challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship,
Right.
Adam Pearce subsequently announced that Belair would defend the Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania 39 against the winner of the Women's Elimination Chamber match.
Okay.
The 4 runner-ups from the Rumble match, Rodriguez, Morgan, Asuka, and Cross, were chosen as the first 4 participants in the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
Natalya and Carmella won their way in the match via qualifying matches.
They did?
Yeah. That's what it said on CBS Sports. So. Well, you don't like Natalya and Carmella?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I don't. Especially when you have someone like Piper Niven.
Yeah.
Who was, who looked like she was going to be the one.
Was in the match.
Who looks like she was going to. Because I know Carmella was in the. I thought it was a fatal 4-way for the. I thought it was a fatal 4-way that got them qualified. So I'm kind of like, I understand Carmella. Carmella has a long, history, career. She's held the SmackDown title at least twice. But I thought for sure that, because
after Piper showing in the Rumble that she would be in the match, but
regardless,
it's not like Natalya and Carmella aren't still good choices, but I think they could have done more with Piper Niven.
My issue is I don't remember Natalya being in that fatal 4-way. I don't remember her being,
Let's see,
because I know it was Meechin.
As I've said, I don't watch the weekly programming as much as I should.
But I know it was Meechin, Carmella, Piper Niven, and
Natalya,
and someone else that I can't remember off the top of my head. Because I missed that match. I haven't had a chance to see it.
Natalya.
So I'm kind of confused how Natalya got in.
Elimination Chamber qualifying 4-way. Natalya defeats Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, and Zelina Vega. Was on the February 3rd episode of SmackDown.
Okay, so they must have had one that was a fatal 4. Okay, so now I'm re-educated. So they must have had 2 fatal 4-ways. They must have had one on Raw, one on SmackDown, and the winner on the Raw one was Carmella, which makes sense because Carmella is.
Mela is money.
Mela is money, and she's a veteran, but I don't understand how Natalya beats Shayna Baszler, or.
I know, as I've always said, I think they need to do more with Shayna Baszler because she's got so much, unlocked potential that they've yet to tap into.
No,
no disrespect to Natalya, she's always been a solid staple of the women's division, but we need to give other performers a chance to shine.
WWE needs to start looking toward the future. Again, no offense to Natalya, she's a solid veteran, but in my opinion, Shayna Baszler's already proven herself. She's already proven her potential.
Just remember, she had that. She was in the Elimination Chamber just a couple years ago and had one of the most impressive elimination streaks in the entire match's history. And now you're not going to capitalize on it by having her in another Elimination Chamber match?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I could see... Shotzi just, I could see why they would, why it would... But Shayna's... I don't know what's going on. I don't understand of all the women that you were like, oh yes, let's put Natalya in the Elimination Chamber match. I'm thinking,
Got all these other
You got
solid
all
choices.
these solid choices.
Solid upcoming talent choices.
You know, I mean, you and I have both agreed Shotzi is a great performer, and I think she's going to be a future women's title holder. She's not there yet, but Shayna Baszler,
She's already proven herself.
she's already proven herself. I don't know what else she has to do. I really don't. That's why I'm kind of like, so I'm already going to sit there and say, well, Natalia's going to get eliminated pretty early.
I already know.
And I think Carmella's going to get eliminated pretty early.
And
So-
I'm pretty sure I've got my pick to win the match. Asuka.
That's not a bad pick.
Because she just had her big return at the
Yeah.
Rumble, brought in one of her classic gimmicks, and they've got to capitalize this by having her win and then win at WrestleMania.
I love Asuka. That's a solid pick. And again,
Just take a glance at all the other participants.
if you look at Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan and Nikki Cross, it was the Twisted Sister Nikki Cross, and Asuka. You're like, oh my! And, you know,
I mean, the only other ones that I could see winning the match would be probably Liv Morgan or Nikki Cross. But again, because Asuka just had her big return to the company, bringing back a new gimmick, they've got to capitalize by having her win.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me personally, and I'm looking ahead to WrestleMania because this is your match for your Raw Women's title, and Asuka versus first of all, my pick right now is Nikki Cross. I think she's solid. She's been a Raw Women's champion before. I think if you put and of course she was a Raw Women's champion when she had that horrible gimmick.
Almost a superhero.
And I'm like, no, let's put it back on her as this version of Nikki Cross. And I think this version of Nikki Cross against Bianca Belair would be great. But I could see Asuka doing the same thing. Asuka with the new gimmick that Kana gimmick.
Either Nikki Cross or Asuka could win, but again, because of a return, I got my money on Asuka.
I'll put my money.
Got yours on Nikki Cross because she brought back the Twisted Sister recently, and
I think mostly because if you think about it, I think this was one of the reasons why she came back at one of the reasons why she came in the Rumble at 29 was because they knew we should put her in the. And not only that, you look at the Elimination Chamber; it's a perfect Nikki Cross. a perfect Nikki Cross match, with her the way she is now. We're coming in on time, so what do we got left?
other matches we have left are, as mentioned before, Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. A mixed tag team match, Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley.
That's a perfect mid-card match. And Edge and Beth are going to win. So,
and they have another match on here. It says Becky Lynch, Lita, and To Be Announced versus Damage Control.
Interesting. So they're bringing Lita back.
So since we don't know who that third person's going to be yet,
that's got to be a big return that they're going to put together.
If they got Lita, Trish Stratus.
Well, yeah.
That would be an interesting return.
That would be.
And to have him against three of the other top current women's stars, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai, that would be interesting to see the old, the foundational generation of women's wrestlers versus the new generation. I know it probably sounds kind of.
I don't know. I would, that sounds good in theory. How to have Lita and Trish in the same ring, not,
it's like, are
not
there,
facing each other, but working
on the
together.
same side. Are there any returns that are being expected? Like, is there anybody who's out of the company right now? I can't think of any.
Yeah, the only problem is that we thought a lot of these returns would come during the Royal Rumble, and they didn't happen. So it's like, I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to be a huge return. I'm thinking it's going to be somebody that that no one's going to expect to be coming back. I mean, obviously, I could see the rumors being that it's going to be Trish. Yeah, Trish and Lita are going to work together with Becky Lynch.
It would be absolutely crazy because I know there was just something recently where it said, like, through Naomi's social media, she alluded that she's not going to be returning to WWE, but it's like, what if it was Naomi? It's
nice swerve.
You got Becky Lynch and Lita come out, and then all of a sudden you hear Naomi's
nice
music.
Little swerve.
Oh my God!
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Must be nice. Water under the bridge. Building back ties.
I don't know. I mean, we didn't think that Nia Jax would come back, and of course, lo and behold, she was.
I heard her return was supposedly just a one-off, so I don't know if she's going to be back wrestling like full-time like she was before she left, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But since we don't know who that third person is,
we're going to
we can hold off on our prediction for the match. But those are our ideas for who the to be announced is.
It would be.
And as far as the mixed tag team match goes, who you got? You got Judgment Day or Edge and Beth?
I got Edge and Beth.
You're not going to have Beth Phoenix return just to have her lose.
No.
No,
I mean, particularly how it all ended at Extreme Rules. I'm sorry.
Beth Phoenix come and whoop ass.
Yeah, again, this is let's be honest, this is the perfect mid-card feel-good match where it's like
going to be it's got the potential to be a low-key match of the year contender. I know it sounds crazy saying a mixed tag team match.
Yeah.
Has that potential, but it's got 4 top
stars.
So anyway,
I mean, the only thing we know for sure is that Dominic's going to involve himself some way. So,
and then he's going to get his ass kicked by Beth Phoenix. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, I mean, he already has. So, but then again, Dom interferes, and all of a sudden you hear Rey Mysterio's music comes out, and then you hear Rey. And again, Rey said, "I'm not."
And that would be nice because I know
he's going to beat his son.
Because Rey and Edge also have a history of being tag team a while back. So anyway, that match we got Edge and Beth Phoenix, hands down.
Again, it's the perfect mid-card feel-good match. It's like,
And on to the match everybody is waiting for. Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn.
I love this match.
But the only reason I couldn't see Sami Zayn winning is because they got the stuff setting up for Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
But then again, what they could do here is possibly have Sami Zayn win one, and then have Roman Reigns defend the other at WrestleMania. But what do you think?
I think this is, and I hate to say this, I really do, but this is one match where I could see it go down where Sammy wins by disqualification.
He wins, but he doesn't get the title.
He doesn't get the title.
Then that would be able to further the storyline, saying, I won the match.
Yeah.
But there was shady stuff going on, so they might be able to continue it to WrestleMania.
So, let me ask you this, and you can look this up. Is there another pay-per-view between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania?
I don't believe so.
I don't think there is.
Let's see.
And so, I mean, my thing is this. I think, because it looks like the Usos are done. It looks like the Usos are splitting up for some reason. And it's just a rumor coming out, from the wrestling sphere that I basically just I saw. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but I could see.
No, there's not a pay-per-view in between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania.
Okay, so what they're probably doing is they're going to set something up. This is probably going to be the setup they're going to use for WrestleMania. I see that they're having it in Montreal. Sammy's really huge in Montreal. He's from there. I don't see him losing. It'll be another
a good way to add heat to Roman Reigns.
But at the same time, they've already invested months in the idea that it's going to be Cody versus Reigns, and that Cody is the one that dethrones him. This has been the rumor, the storyline, what the fan theory that's been
For
going on.
even before Cody Rhodes' return, everybody knew this was what they were building to.
Wanted. So, it just so happened that the injury kind of delayed some of the stuff that they wanted. However, getting back on track, this would seem like it's where, and again, remember, it's not the ending we want. It's the ending we're going to get because it satisfies all parts. Sammy's going to...
It's not the ending we want, but the ending we need for story purposes.
For story purposes. Sammy's going to win the match. Through,
shady means.
Shady means.
Whatever that may be.
He gets disqualified. Roman gets disqualified. Or Jay comes in and rescues Sammy and super kicks Roman and really puts a wedge in the bloodline, which is even more of a great storyline. And so, or maybe Jay comes in and looks like he's going to protect Sammy, and then turns around and super kicks Sammy, and Sammy wins the match, by disqualification. And so everybody's, oh yeah, Sammy won, but he doesn't get the title.
Win the championship.
He doesn't win the championship.
So that's what we expect is going to happen. Sammy wins by DQ to further the dissolution of the bloodline.
Yeah, we'll see how this works. Again, we're looking at it another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So
and a lot can happen in 2 weeks.
A lot can happen in 2 weeks.
So let's just hope it's not like that one day where all our predictions went up in smoke in a matter of hours.
So this is basically what I'm going to say that Sammy wins, but he doesn't get the title. For whatever reason. Because but WWE painted themselves into a very, very,
very
tight corner with this. It's and again, I think part of it had to do with Cody's injury. They had but trying to figure out how to right around that injury while he's rehabbing, and so
that's how they came up with the bloodline Sami Zayn storyline. And now, even though Cody's back, we have to have a payoff to that storyline they built up while Cody was out.
And this is let me just be honest right here. This is smart on WWE's part because they, for the longest time, they have written storylines for the short term, for 3 months at a time.
And now it looks like they're starting to build long-term stuff, which is really nice. Because it's
really nice.
It was almost like us as audience members, we can pay attention to a storyline that lasts months, okay? We can keep track of that. We don't just need one storyline for one pay-per-view.
Right. But, this has been really good. And I even, let's go as far back as about a year or so ago when a certain bald-headed Swiss wrestler was part of the organization, and the fandom was clamoring and wanted Cesaro to get his title shot. And WWE finally listened and gave them
his WrestleMania moment.
His WrestleMania, and gave him his shot. He has WrestleMania moment against Seth Rollins. We all went nuts. They gave him his moment against Roman Reigns for the title, and we thought for sure that we were going to see a change in the guard. It didn't happen. We thought for sure, okay, well, Cesaro will come, and then they didn't bring him back. And so, who knows what it is, what's going on there. But the idea that they're starting to do storylines that are long-term type storylines, and who knows, I think they'll even be able to build a storyline somewhere around coming through to WrestleMania, somewhere around Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, and Cody Rhodes, and they'll see where it goes.
Who knows? They could do a triple threat.
With Jey Uso in the mix, I think somewhere in there. But it is just this looks.
They could even if they don't want to do a match for the separate titles, they could do like what they've done in the past and have a triple threat.
Right.
Like they had the one at WrestleMania 20, which with he who shall not be named winning. But I mean, even if they don't choose to go the separate match route, one on night 1, night 2, they could do that, and either way, it'll be incredible.
Yeah. But one of the things, and I know I'm not alone when I say this, because I think Sami Zayn deserves a world title.
Yes. I'm pretty sure everybody agrees on that. That guy is...
He's been one of the hardest working...
Ever since he's been
wrestlers,
in the company, he's been one of the absolute best.
And I could see him for Elimination Chamber possibly cutting his hair short again, cutting his beard short again, coming back out as the Sami Zayn we remember him from the NXT days, and just absolutely putting on a show. I'm looking forward to this. I want to see, for all intents and purposes, I just want to see where it ends, where it goes from here. But of all people in your company that deserves a title,
it's Sami Zayn.
It's Sami Zayn. And we're not the only ones that have been saying this. A lot of your
fan base has been saying that.
While at the same time, we really do want to see Cody Rhodes dethrone Roman Reigns. So this ought to be interesting. I'm sure that they're in the back hammering out all the details for this storyline, trying to make sure that, and I'm sure they're writing and they're rewriting and they're trying. I know this segment went long.
Yeah, but for now, those are our predictions for Elimination Chamber 2023 and possible storylines for WrestleMania 39.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be a really interesting few months, especially now that we've realized that there isn't a pay-per-view between Elimination
Chamber and
there's,
WrestleMania.
There's nothing scheduled. There's nothing on the books.
Again, it just gives them time to build on these storylines.
And which is something else we've clamored about.
That WWE needs less pay-per-views, more time to build storylines.
I noticed that Vengeance Day is now going to be an NXT pay-per-view, which is like, yes, that sounds absolutely perfect. And I would like to see more of that. But yeah, WWE they didn't need a pay-per-view a month. I mean, they didn't have one in December.
It's like get rid of the fast lanes, the roadblock, all those D-tier pay-per-views, and leave us with the B and A tiers.
Yeah. And I think that they're finally on their road back to where they used to be, and I'm excited. So, Logan, if they want to check us out anywhere else, where would they go?
If you want to find all the links to our social medias, you can find them at withkoji.com/@travelbynature. Then you can find the link to our other YouTube page, Travel by Nature, as well as our Instagram, our TikTok, our Twitter pages for our podcast. And we also have an Ask Me Anything tab and a tip jar, if you're so generous.
Yeah, check out some of our other channels, Travel by Nature, Miss Indy's Kitchen, Wrestling Boys Podcast, all... you can find them on YouTube.
On With the Show podcast.
On With the Show podcast. Yeah, this is Wrestling Boys.
Yeah.
We do so much. I'm like, On With the Show podcast. Just check us out because we're putting out a lot of different stuff, and we're actually very, very excited about it. Oh, if they want to help out the channel, what would they do?
You can hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share it to your friends.
Yeah, share it out to your friends. Leave us a comment. Makes us smile. We love reading some of the predictions and some of the stuff you say of what you think would happen as far as wrestling is concerned. It's just like, yeah, we never thought of that before. We take a lot of your comments seriously. And you could also tell us we're full of crap. Yeah. Which doesn't make a difference to us because sometimes we think we're
whatever you do, we value your feedback anyway.
We value your feedback because it's a lot of, because it's something we can take in and think about for the next podcast. Anything else?
No, that covers it all.
Wow, I guess that means
I'm Logan.
I'm Goose.
We are the Wrestling Boys. We will see you next week.
Party on.